from NBC News, this is Today.
Back now at 7:43 with a revealing new look at a deadly wrong-way accident on New York's highway. 8 people were killed, including 3 young sisters, and behind the wheel, a mother who police say was legally drunk. Now a documentary takes us inside her life. NBC's Jeff Rawson is here with more. Jeff, good morning.
Hi, Ann. Good morning to you. This HBO documentary is controversial. Part of the victim's family cooperated. The other half says they may not even watch it. Even the title is sparking outrage among relatives. There's something wrong with Aunt Diane, the final words of a little girl killed in the crash.
Can we find a deer?
This is our first close-up look at Diane Schuler, who was only 5 when his mother, sister, and cousins were all killed in a violent crash. Brian was the lone survivor.
He came home from rehab and I started spending my days with him. The stories never changed. Never ever changed. Mommy's head hurt, she couldn't say.
Mommy was Diane Schuler. She drove the family minivan the wrong way on New York's Taconic Parkway, slamming into an SUV, killing all 3 inside the SUV, headed to their own family dinner. The Schuler family was decimated too. Diane and her daughter were killed, along with all her brother's kids, 3 young sisters.
The kid's not moving. There's a whole bunch of kids. Honestly, the car smashed.
Just moments before the accident, one of the kids called home, worried.
They're saying Aunt Diane can't see. Aunt Diane can't, something's wrong with Aunt Diane.
Toxicology reports showed Diane Schuler was high on drugs and drunk behind the wheel, more than double the legal limit.
She is not an alcoholic, and my heart is resting every night when I go to bed. Something medically had to happen.
From the beginning, Diane's husband defended her. That's why he allowed HBO full access now, trying to clear her name.
I want to know if she had a stroke or not. Because what they're saying is not true. I wouldn't be doing this.
But Diane's own brother, who lost his 3 daughters in the crash, declined to be interviewed for the documentary. His wife, who is now pregnant again, told the Ladies' Home Journal, "The fact they used my daughter Emma's last words as a title only makes it that much more painful."
I just want to find out what happened. So when my son gets older, he knows what happened to his mom.
To this day, Diane Schuler is vilified, even in death. So the documentary delves into her life pre-accident. Who was she? Friends call her a super mom who did everything from chaperone school events to manage her own full-time career as a cable TV executive. And that special airs tonight on HBO.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. Well, Diane Schuler's sister-in-law, Jay Schuler, is now joining us along with Liz Garba. She's the woman who made the HBO documentary. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
So your brother says in the documentary, I want to know whether she had a stroke or not. I want to know what the real reason was behind this. This documentary doesn't say that she had a stroke. It talks about the toxicology reports. So I want to ask you, what more proof do you need to know that she was drunk and on drugs?
I know it's very hard, but you can't dispute science. But if you look back at the type of person she was and what she would never do such a thing. She would never be driving to her brother's house with his children in the car, with her children in the car, and driving drunk or drinking. Where did she drink? When did she drink? How did she consume that much alcohol in that little bit of time? But it just 1 and 1 isn't making 2 to us. And I just feel that I really want someone to find out what happened to her.
So the documentary does not resolve the question that your brother wants to have resolved. So Liz, when you looked at this, you looked at this case for more than a year in this documentary. What did you discover about Diane that the family does not see in them, in their sister-in-law, for example?
Look, when something like this happens, when a tragedy of this magnitude happens, there's a need for answers. There's a search for answers, and some of those answers may not be findable. we did find, that Jay's and Danny's stories about Diane as a mother who was devoted and as a totally responsible executive were backed up by the people who knew her. So you have that reality, and then you have the reality of what the toxicology report said and the events of that day. And how do you go about reconciling those two different realities?
How is it not possible that she could have been a great mother, a lovely person who was, as you described, kind of the wonderful mother who was also drinking? Because the toxicology reports say that there was twice the legal limit in her body.
And that, to me alone, makes me think, how could that have happened? What could spark somebody at that point to all of a sudden decide at that moment, on our way to her brother's, driving with the 5 kids, the phone call before saying everything was fine, we're on our way, and then a phone call saying something's wrong with Aunt Diane, and then the quotes that Brian has said, that Mommy's head hurt, she couldn't see Aunt Jay. There's nothing that, did you see her leave a bar? Did you see her buy alcohol? Did you see her do this? Did you see her do that? There's so much unanswered. Could anything have, I'm not saying anyone made any mistakes, but could the accident scene, anything that happened there, have altered anything? I know it sounds naive or gullible, but because of a fire, because of an abscess, could anything...
Tooth abscess. She was suffering a tooth abscess.
Absolutely. So could anything have done... did anything to alter the results or anything like that? Like, if we could check every avenue first and then maybe tell me we've checked everything?
This tragedy has fractured your family, and it's made it very difficult, and that's part of the reason why this has been controversial. Is the mother of the 3 girls who died, the 3 sisters who died, wrote in Ladies' Home Journal that she's upset that you used Emma's last words, her daughter Emma's last words, "There's something wrong with Diane," is the title for this documentary. What's your response to that?
Had we known that would have caused Jackie pain, we would have not made that choice. We certainly did not wish that to happen for her.
Do you think your family will heal?
We're trying. Brian is a really good boy, and Jackie and Warren still have, they still speak, reach out to Brian, and they understand why we did.
Obviously, this story is not resolved. We thank you for being here this morning to tell us, Jay and Liz, what you can about it. And again, the documentary, There's Something Wrong with Diane, premieres tonight at 9 p.m. on HBO. We'll be right back.